We are live. What's going on, guys? Welcome to the two-man front. Welcome to the show on this Sunday evening, wherever you are joining us from. I am Be Easy Sports. Of course, that's my boy, The Fall from Objectively Biased Sports. And big weekend. Very interesting, strange, weird, shocking, stunning, whatever you want to call it, weekend of the end of 2025 NFL drive from Green Bay. Obviously, we have a lot to talk about. We got, of course, leave your comments below. Of course, subscribe to our channel on YouTube. Please do that. And of course, leave your comments below. We love chatting with you guys. We love engaging with you guys. It makes the show go so much better when we are engaging with you guys while we are chatting. Of course, we got winners and losers of the 2025 NFL Draft. We're going to be talking about, obviously, the shocking, historic fall of Shedeur Sanders. We're going to dissect that and give you our thoughts. I gave my thoughts over the weekend through my post, but I want to hear Fogg's thoughts as well on that and what he think was going on and why he thought Shedeur fell. And it wasn't justified. Of course, who's this year's draft's Tom Brady? Who's going to be the guy we're going to be talking about 20 years from now, possibly being one of the greatest of all time? Is there anybody in this draft that's this year? I know it's really hard to do that, but look, there have been some gems. There have been some gems who were chosen between rounds 5 and 7, right? And we're going to try to find that guy. And then, of course, we're going to grade our teams. We're going to grade each other's teams. I'm going to grade the Eagles draft. And Fogg's to the grave mine. He kind of already started before we came on here, so I kind of have an idea of where he's going. But let's go ahead and get started, Fogg. Let's go ahead and get started with our winners and losers of the 2025 NFL Draft. Give us your. Let's end on a good note. Give us your losers of this draft. Who do you want to? Who lost? It could be anybody. Who lost this draft for you?
For me, I'm going to say the Green Bay Packers.
Okay.
Lost this draft for me, and they lost this draft for me on multiple levels here. As a Texas Longhorn fan, I like Matthew Golden. I don't think Golden is the answer to a number one wide receiver on this team.
Yep.
And not only did you get Golden, but then you came back and Savion Williams from TCU, you got him too. And he's a big gadget player more than anything else. So essentially what you did was put a bunch of weapons around Jordan Love that he's still not going to have his number one guy. You're still going to be predicated on the run. And by drafting 2 wide receivers, we know these things to be true. Number one, Watson is probably done. And they're not counting on him. Wicks is not the answer. And whatever beef is going on with Reed and the coaching staff, because I think that's where that is gone, I wouldn't be shocked to see Jaden Reed traded because Savion Williams just basically fills in the position that Reed is filling in. The only difference is there that Reed has a problem with the coaching staff, or the coaching staff, vice versa, has a problem with Reed. And Williams doesn't because he just got drafted, and they still have Romeo Doubs there as well. So I think the Packers, the thought process is if you're not getting better in the NFL, then you got worse. I don't believe through the draft the Packers did anything to really bolster that team on the offensive side of the ball enough to say they're improving. They kind of just stayed the same and just brought in young players to replace some of the young players that they already have for some of the misses that they already swings and misses that they already took. So for me, the Packers in a division that is going to be highly contested were the losers there because I felt like some of the other teams in that division, the Lions and the Bears in particular, made strides moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that assessment of Matthew Golden. Yeah, I feel like the Packers are and have been for a while. Have been a team of number 2s, right? Number 2 wide receivers. They always have. They don't really have a number 1 guy. I mean, I think they have Christian Watkins and they have some other guys. I can't even think of their names because they're all number 2. So like, I don't even know exactly who would be the number 1 guy, but I don't think it's Matthew Golden. I feel like he was one of the more overrated receivers in this draft class. I feel like if they would have got him like in the 3rd round, maybe I would have I would have liked that. If they would have got like Luther Burden, I like Luther Burden over Matthew Golden myself personally. I felt like he was a
Mhm.
little bit. I felt there was a few guys who went in the second and third round who I like better than Matthew Golden. So I was kind of surprised they went that way, but they did. They did. At last, they did. But yeah. That's I get that. I get that as one of the losers. I would say that for me, one of my losers, before I get to my actual other loser of the draft, is Detroit. I didn't like what Detroit did. I felt like they kind of I feel like this is going to be a year they take a step back. Um, you know, I felt like they I wasn't a big fan of some of the guys they drafted. Um, I felt like Mike Green was there. They didn't take him. They missed on James Pierce Jr. Somehow they let him go to the Falcons. I felt like they needed another edge, and they just didn't really hit on one that I really liked. As far as the rest of their draft, they draft another edge rusher in Ahmad Hassan in round 6. He's good, but I don't really think he's somebody that like is gonna light the world up. I feel like the Lions missed on opportunities to kind of help continue to build what they're trying to build. And I feel like they kind of feel like they're taking a step back. I feel like they're going to take a step back as far as what they could be doing. They're one of my losers. Another loser I had in this draft. Also, I wasn't a big fan actually of Cincinnati's draft. Now, I'm not saying that as a Steeler fan. I'm not just saying that because I'm a Steeler fan, but I'm also saying that because I wasn't a fan of some of the guys they took. I mean, obviously, they signed some good guys. I mean, they signed T. Higgins, Jamar Chase, so that's retained. But wasn't a huge fan of their draft. Wasn't a huge fan of Shamar Stewart. Wasn't really high on him. But they drafted him in 17. I felt like I gave him like a second round grade. And there were some other guys still on the board. Again, James Pierce Jr., who I felt like somehow I understand. And then Jahad Campbell, who I can't believe he actually fell to you guys again, which pissed me off. But I felt there were so many other guys they could have gotten edge rush wise, but I wasn't a huge fan of their draft. They didn't get a running back. This is a team I felt like needed a stronger running game for. I know they have Chase Brown. I get that, but I feel like they could have bolstered up the running game a little bit and they didn't get a running back to the 7th round. So I was kind of surprised they did not go running back at all until the 7th round. They got Taj Brooks from Texas Tech. Yeah. So I was like, okay. So I was like, it was kind of a ho-hum draft for that. I wasn't really feeling them. I wasn't really feeling Chase Brown and Zach Moss. So they have those guys, but I felt like they could have used a running back. There were some pretty good running backs on the board, still on the board. I get defense was the name of the game for them, but man, I felt like there were still some really good running backs on the board between rounds 4, 5, and 6. So that's another guy. So give me another loser, Paul. Give me another loser on your end.
Well, no, you took one of them. The Cincinnati Bengals were definitely a loser for me. I guess I'm going to go with the Arizona Cardinals. I was not a fan of. I get it. They committed defensively. They went all in on the defensive side of the ball, but I felt like there was so many issues that they had offensively, especially on the offensive line, that needed help to not address anything offensively. I mean, literally, their entire draft was completely predicated on defense. And I love the fact that they grabbed Will Johnson. I can't believe he fell to the. Well, I understand why. Look, a knee injury is a, and I get why he fell to the 2nd round because of the knee injury. Remember, he did not run at the combine. He did not have a pro day where he was running at. And a lot of their needs that they needed to address were on the defensive side of the ball. But again, offensively, you address the offensive line with Connor Hayden from Texas in the 6th round. Or do we really believe that Connor Hayden is going to be a starter or even a rotational player on that team?
No,
come from this. No. So this you essentially the only offensive lineman that you got in this draft is a guy that's going to be on a future practice squad, whether it's with your team or another organization. So I feel like the Arizona Cardinals didn't do anything from the offensive side of the ball to help themselves. And I get it, you want to bolster your defense, but offensively, you're still going to be the same Cardinals team that you were last season. And you're going into this season with what? James Conner again at the running back position?
An older James Conner. Yeah. Old James Conner. Yeah, I wasn't, Cardinals had a ho-hum. They had a ho-hum draft as well. Getting Will Johnson, honestly, if Shedeur Sanders wasn't dropping the way he was dropping, he would have been the story of dropping, because there was a time where people were comparing him to Travis Hunter. They were saying that he was the better corner than Travis Hunter, right? So there was that as well. So him dropping out of the first round was actually a little shocking to me. I really felt like he was going to be I really thought he was going to be a team or a guy that was going to be at least maybe sneak back in the first round or something. But yeah, that was a good pickup for them, because if they hit on that, if he becomes what they think he can become, he can be really good. Yeah. He can be solid. Will Johnson can be solid if he can get bypass the injuries and stuff like that. I think he could be really solid. One last loser for me of this draft, honestly, for me is, and it's gonna kind of segue into the next our next topic, but I kind of want to bring him up now because it has nothing to do with Shedeur necessarily. It has more to do with what they kind of gave up, or what they did in not drafting Travis Hunter, and instead another offensive line. I'm trying to figure out I'm trying to see who they drafted. Trying to see. I know it was oh my God, what the guy's name? What's his name? He went to not LSU. That was Will Campbell. I will find out who that is, but I know they're drafting the offensive lineman. I know they're trying to build for the future, for their future quarterback, but I feel like Travis Hunter is a guy you just have to draft as far as like lifting up and giving your franchise a little bit of life. I know they got back a lot of compensation, and honestly, 5 years from now, if Travis Hunter isn't the guy we think he's going to be, the Jags lose. The Jags gave up a lot for this guy. I mean, it was you can almost call it a king's ransom if you want to. It was a lot. It was a lot what they traded to get up and get Travis Hunter. But I think they're winners for doing that. I mean, they gave up a lot. I mean, they gave up the number 5, the number 2. They gave up a lot. They gave up a lot to get Travis Hunter. So, but I think the Browns are losers for that, for not just sticking to the order and getting Travis Hunter and moving back to 5 and getting the offensive lineman. I can't for the life of me.
No, not the offensive. They got Mason Graham, the defensive tackle from Michigan.
Did they?
Yeah, they got Graham.
Why did I think Mason Graham went to no? Oh no. Okay, that makes it even worse. Honestly, I thought they got man, I can't. I'm trying to look at this guy's name. Let me see the Browns guy. Who did the Browns get? Let me see. Let me look it up real quick.
I don't think they got an offensive lineman.
No, they didn't. Yeah, they got Mason Graham, first round pick, number 5. Yeah, number 5. That was kind of a reach.
Oh, you're thinking of Will Campbell.
No, Will Campbell went to the
Patriots. The Patriots.
Yeah. I thought. Oh no, the Jets got the other top offensive lineman. The Jets got him.
Oh, the kid from Missouri.
The kid from Missouri. Yes. Yeah. The kid from Missouri. Yeah. I for the life of me, I can't think of his name right now. But I wasn't a big fan. Bottom line is, I'm not a big fan of the Browns giving up that much, giving up to not get Travis Hunter. That to me was a guy that they could have gotten. And honestly, they messed it up, as the Browns do, because if they were always planning on getting Shedeur, and you get Travis Hunter on the same damn team, then you have the Cleveland Buffaloes, and then it's must-see TV, and then the Browns are actually watchable. But again, it's Cleveland, so we can't count on them for doing anything right.
The Browns will never be watchable.
So, but let's get some winners. Let's end on a good note. Who are your winners of this year's draft, Bob? Give me some winners.
And so one of my big winners is the Chargers. And
Really?
Amarion Hampton, yes, I love the fact that Hampton went to the Chargers because he's going behind an offensive line that's
Yeah.
established. He's going to a team where his style of running is going to fit well for the Chargers. He's now the number one running back there. He
Yep.
may split time with Najee Harris to start, but I trust and believe that it's going to be an 80-20 time share at best for Najee Harris. So for anybody who has Najee Harris fantasy wise, just cut him. Try to trade him because he's
He's
a
done.
dead body. He's a
He's
dead
done.
body.
Yeah.
So I love that. I love the fact that they got Trey Harris from Ole Miss.
Yeah, like I like that. That was a good pick.
You've got him, and when you think about it, he only played 8 games last year, and he had 60 receptions, which he played, I think, 12 games the year before. He had 60 receptions this year in 8 games to 54 receptions in 12 games the previous year. Went over 1,000 yards, had the same amount of touchdowns that he had the previous year at 7. Again, and he only played 8 games. Injury was a issue for them. If you believe in Jackson Dart, then maybe Trey Harris is not the guy. I don't believe in Jackson Dart. I don't think Jackson Dart's going to be anything special in the NFL. So I like the Trey Harris move in that wide receiver core that needs somebody like him. You got Ladd McConkey in the slot. You got Quentin Johnson on the outside. Now you bring in Trey Harris, who can take the roof off of defense as well.
Mm-hmm.
With Amarion Hampton there, I like what they did there. I like the defensive front, the rotation, working in the trenches with Jamari Campbell, the kid from Oregon, the D tackle there, and Kennard, the linebacker and edge rusher from, I think it's South Carolina. So you got guys that could plug in that rotation with the depth with Ugbanani and Tart at the defensive tackle position that they have, with the Hawaiian guy that they drafted from USC, Tui, the previous year at the linebacker position. So they have depth in the trenches and in that front 7 defensively. I like it. I like what the Chargers did. I'll say it right now. Just off of this alone, bold take, Chargers win the AFC West this year.
Oh, wow. Over KC.
Over KC.
Okay. Wow. That's that. Then yeah, that's just off this draft.
Just off the draft and off so far what all the teams have done so far in the offseason to include the draft right now. Again, my opinion could change, but I don't think it is. I think I was rolling with this at the end of last season, and I'm going to double down on it. I'm taking the Chargers to win the division this year.
Okay. I like that. Oh, that's bold. No, because as you know, the Chiefs, I believe, have won the division, I want to say 9 years in a row.
Something like that.
Something like that, right? So
all good things come to an end.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I like that. I mean, I think they had a pretty good draft as well. I do think it's curtains for Najee Harris. I will say that. I was very surprised they picked Amari Hampton after just signing Najee. I mean, I think it's going to be a 2-back system, but I mean, somebody's going to carry the load and somebody's going to take over. I think it's going to be Amari Hampton. I really do. I think he's obviously the better back. I one of my winners to me is Caleb Williams because I love what the Bears are doing for him. I love what the Bears are doing. I love what the Bears are doing. Let me just go through what they've done first. I mean, the drafting. Clearly, they're thinking running the football this year. Clearly, they're thinking 12 personnel, 2 tight ends on the field with drafting Colston Loveland, who I didn't have first on my tight end list. I'm not sure you did. I know some guys did, but I obviously had Tyler Warren, but they passed on him. But they want somebody who can block, and Colston Loveland's a guy that can block, right? And he can go out and pass some catches as well. So I do like Colston Loveland. I do like what they're doing in the draft. I love the fact that they got Luther Burden, which to me kind of spells some trouble possibly for Rome Odunze. I don't know what that means for him, but they just maybe Ben Johnson sees something that he doesn't like, or maybe they don't really think he has a very high ceiling. I don't know, right? I'm not sure, but I love the Luther Burden. To me, probably right after Territory McMillan was the second best receiver in this draft, in my opinion. was Luther Burden, right? And because he's like almost kind of like a Debo Samuel type of guy. He's a do everything guy. So I definitely like that. I do like also what they did. They got Braxton. They got who else did they draft? Who else did they draft in this draft? They wanted Ashton Jensen, but they didn't get him. They didn't get a running back. It's kind of surprised they didn't get a running back.
I don't know. I don't think they.
Oh,
I
no,
think
they
they
did.
might have gotten a running back towards the end, but
They did.
I like the guy that they got from Boston College.
Ozzie Caprillo, yeah. Building up that offensive line is they're that offensive line. Obviously, they got to protect, and they also bolstered it through free agency as well. They traded for guards Tony and Jonah Jackson that weren't too costly, so they got that, and they got Drew Dolman as a center. So they're clearly trying to build around and protect Caleb Williams and take the ball out of his hands. Right, he was sacked 68 times last year, so you want to try to run the football there. And they did draft a running back, actually. They drafted Kyle Monagai from Rutgers, so we'll see how that goes. But I liked Shermer Turner from Texas A&M. That was a good value pick. Love that. Ruben Hippolyte, I like that linebacker pick from Maryland. I like that. They had a hell of a draft. And clearly everything is surrounded to protect and develop Caleb Williams. I can't wait to see what Ben Johnson does with Luther Burden. I really can't believe I'm almost positive he's gonna line him up in the backfield. He's gonna be kind of moving around, a lot of shifts, a lot of motion. I'm excited about that. So I thought the Bears had a solid draft. I thought getting Colston Loveland was a little bit of a shock, but then when I look back at it, when I think about it, they're obviously thinking about 12 personnel because they already have Cole Kmet, right? They already have the receiving type of tight end. Now they have a line on the line tight end who can block and also slip through the seams when he needs to. So that's something I'm looking forward to seeing as well. Who's your last winner, Falk?
That you just hit it. Caleb Williams is a winner for me with the Bears, but I'll go. Since you went there, I'm going to go to New England Patriots. When you look at what the New England Patriots did in this draft, I didn't realize that they had as many picks as they did.
Yeah,
but I think the Patriots did fantastic in the draft, and I think you can't overlook the fact that they are really building to help Drake May. If there's a you had to see what the Bears did. Well, the Patriots did the same thing with building around Drake May and trying to get trying to build this team with him. I love the Travion Henderson pickup. He's going to be day one starter right there. If you think Stevens is going to be Stevens is not going to. I'm not going to say he's going to be irrelevant, but he is not going to be anything that's going to take away from Henderson. Henderson is a dual threat running back. In all honesty, he might be the better of the two Ohio State running backs, and I was high on Judkins.
I think he is too.
When you look at the receiving game, how explosive he is in the receiving game, and here's the other thing: he actually could pass block.
Yeah,
he could pass block, and that's going to be important in protecting Drake May. But then they went out, they got Will Campbell in the first round. I love the fact that they got Kyle Williams. I think that's a sleeper guy. I don't think people understand how good this kid could potentially be, the wide receiver out of Washington State. I love the fact that they got him there. He could play under Stephon Diggs because they brought Diggs there. No, they got him at the beginning of the third round, I think.
Oh, third round, 69 pick. Still good. That's a good value.
And then
value.
Center, Jared Wilson out of Georgia.
Wilson. Man,
so
New England,
these guys, they hit their targets. They got the personnel that they wanted to get. I like the way the New England Patriots approached this entire draft process. I think them, the Chicago Bears, really, if you look at all the teams that drafted, all the teams that have young quarterbacks that they need to build around, the Bears and the Patriots did exactly what they were supposed to do to help their young quarterbacks out.
Yeah, the Patriots would have been my second as well. That would have been my second pick because they had a great job. I'm gonna say, I'm gonna say another young quarterback. I'm gonna go with the guy who was picked right after Caleb Williams. I'm gonna go Washington and Jaden Daniels. I think they had a great draft as well. I felt like they didn't have many picks. They only had about 5 picks, but they made the best of them. Like they're clearly their goal is to protect Jaden Daniels at all costs. when they drafted Josh Connolly Jr. out of Oregon. And on top of that, they got Larry Tunzel as well, and they got Deebo Samuel. They're clearly their goal is to put as much around him as possible. Defensively, I like Trey Amos. I felt that was a good value pick out of Ole Miss. They did need a bolster. That secondary is terrible, so they definitely needed to address that as soon as possible. And they got some other guys. Jalen Lane out of Virginia Tech, speedster, wide receiver. We'll see what he can do. Give him some good depth there. And then they got a running back out of Arizona and Ja'Cory Krosky Merritt. So we'll see what that happens. But I like their offseason. Their draft was great. I just like the Commanders' offseason, right? And the goal is to protect their franchise, which is obviously Jaden Daniels. So I like what they did as well. So let's go and talk about probably bringing some other losers in this next topic in Shedeur Sanders, the Shedeur Sanders situation. Obviously, everybody knows what happened with Shedeur. He had historic fall. He was projected by pretty much anybody who watches football, who understands football, films, scouts, whatever it may be, at least analyst wise. We don't know what's going on in these rooms, but I got something to say about that in a minute. But projected to go at least first through second round, right? I don't think anybody really had him sliding to third, let alone the fifth round. But Fall Guys, you saw it. We all saw it. We all saw it happening in live time. The historic drop of Shedeur Sanders. So I kind of already gave my thoughts. I made a whole video on it. I posted it on my page. I'll rehash on it a little bit. But I want to get your thoughts on just this entire situation as far as Shedeur's fall.
So let's get a couple of things out of the way. First of all, what I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear anybody talking about, his skills.
Yeah.
Bullshit.
Yeah.
Don't give me that, because you knew what the game film was, and nothing changed from his skill set or his abilities, his proficiencies or his deficiencies from the time he's decided to leave Colorado and walk off that last football game to the combine to the draft. Nothing has changed. He is who he is. And like you just said, he's been rated as one of the three best quarterbacks coming out of this draft. It was Cam Ward, and it was him for a long time, and then Jackson Dart slid up in there. But at the end of the day, Shedeur Sanders was a first-round pick, top 5 pick, top 10 pick, first-round pick. Coming into the draft, he may slide into the second round, but somebody could possibly trade up for him. So I don't want to hear excuses about skill set. You knew what it was going in, and it was not fifth round grade draft. Number 2, I don't want to hear the race card. Don't give me look. Racism has been woven into the fabric of the NFL hierarchy. We all know this to be true. Where if you don't think the NFL has racism, then you're clueless or you're racist yourself. Now, character issues. We've had players that have had character issues before. Character issues that at the quarterback position that still had them drafted number 1, still had them drafted in the first round, still had them drafted in the top 10, right? So we've seen players who have had quote unquote character issues and it not affect their draft to this extent. So I don't want to hear about the character. He was arrogant. Yeah, so is almost every great player that plays in the NFL. I don't want to hear the character issues. Could it have impacted how some of these teams look at him? It's very possible. What I do know is this: if you are going to translate to W's and revenue, the NFL will not spite themselves.
Yep.
They will not spite themselves. They will say NFL teams have shown you they will take on problem childs so long as that problem child can translate to W's and money on the football field. So I don't want to hear the character issues. So there's one thing in particular that I do know. I believe that this is out of spite.
Mm-hmm.
I believe this is out of spite, not to the kid, but through the kid to Deion Sanders.
Yep. Yeah.
I think that I think a lot of this has to do with the fact that, hey, we're going to show you that you ain't going to run shit.
Yeah.
The NFL didn't like you when you were in the league to begin with. We all know that to be true.
Yeah.
They hated Deion Sanders. They hated his arrogance. They hated his cocky attitude. They hated the things he did. And now his son is bringing that same thing to the table. So I do believe that this happened because this largely happened because of spite for who his father is and how his father is. But I don't believe that's all that's there. And this is where I say I'm very confused, because if teams won't spite themselves for W's, I don't believe that you truly did this just to prove a point and had this young man slide all the way down to the 5th round. And teams did this just to prove a point. So I feel like there's something more at play, Brian, that maybe we're later on we're going to find out. But there's a missing piece here. There's something that I'm missing. I feel like we're all missing, that you can't pinpoint it. It's not as black and white as saying, oh, this was just to spite Deion, or this is just a character issue, or it's just this, or it's just that. No, there's something else here that we're missing that we don't know, because it doesn't make sense for a player to have been touted the way he was, to have been a media sensation the way he was, to go from being a first round pick, to go from being a potential top 10 pick to getting drafted in the 5th round. Like you said, this is an epic fall. This isn't a Laramie Tunsil type fall where he was, and they had him in video smoking.
Yeah.
No. This isn't that type of fall. So something else is there that created this. Something else happened. There's something that we're missing that we're not preview to at this point. Because I do believe, large in part, that they wanted to prove a point to Deion Sanders, not Shedeur, to prove a point to him. But what is it that we are missing? And the only thing I could come up with is that maybe teams don't feel he's coachable, because he's had his, as Nick Wright put it on Fox Sports.
The same thing. Yeah.
He's had his dad his entire football career. His entire football career has been manicured and tailored by his father.
Yep.
And what came out with the, I guess, the conflict between Shedeur and Brian Daboll, maybe that has a big impact on how some of these teams are actually looking at him.
Yeah, I said those pretty much the exact same points on my video, as far as like what could be the reason, what the theories are, but any way you spin it does not give valid justification to why he went from first top 10 pick all the way to the middle of the 5th round. This man damn near fell out the 5th round, right? He was the Browns' last pick. So if he wasn't for the Browns, apparently this man could have went undrafted, which is insanity, right? So, and I'll get to the Browns picking him in the first place in a minute, but there is really no justification. You hit all the points that I made in my video. Like I don't buy the character thing. Don't buy that, because we have guys like Johnny Manziel smoking coke before games, and him getting dropped in the first round still. What's that about? And then you have guys like Baker Mayfield telling Kansas to suck his making the gesture, getting tackled by the police in Fayetteville when he played for Oklahoma, when he was drunk in public or whatever. That was on camera. Being not really a great locker room guy by all accounts, by some reports of Baker Mayfield while he was in college. He was cocky as hell, right? So there was that. And then you got a guy like Jameis Winston, right, who had his whole situation at Florida State, right? The whole sexual assault situation, and he went number 1. So look, I'm not even comparing him to Jameis Winston talent wise. I'm not comparing him. I think there's some equal when it comes to maybe Johnny Manziel and Baker Mayfield. I didn't think Baker Mayfield was that great. I didn't have him that high, from what I remember, but he went number 1 because it's the Browns, right? So, yeah, I mean, and then also on top of I brought up the whole uncoachable thing because his dad coached him through high school up until now. I kind of get that theory to why he may be like could be uncoachable because he's never had another voice, talk football to him as far as coaching other than his dad. But we'll see that. We're going to be able to see that now. So we're going to be able to find out. So if he's not, then he's not. But I don't think that justifies for him going down. Personally, man, this was personal. This was seriously a personal vendetta and kind of a colluded effort towards of the NFL teams, right? Saying no one dropped this guy. Let's teach him a lesson. Let's humble him a little bit. Let's see how he reacts, right? And and look, by all accounts, publicly, he took it very well. Like, he wasn't saying anything on Twitter or Instagram. He wasn't downplaying the NFL. He wasn't downplaying teams or anything like that. He seemed very excited on his stream when he got drafted, the whole 9. So, I mean, is that humble enough for you? I don't really know exactly what teams were looking for Shedeur Sanders. I don't really know what they were looking for in the interviews. I heard that was an issue. Brian Daboll saying that the interview didn't go well. Fine. Okay, then don't fucking draft him. Like, I don't understand, like, why that's a big deal. I don't understand why. And then I saw like some things like, oh, he was in there for some guys he made us feel small. Like you are like a multi-billionaire and a kid coming to the NFL made you feel small. But like this victim stuff is like, it is crazy. It is insane that like so much is coming out, but nothing justifies why this man went from a potential top 5 pick, right? Mm-hmm. Top 5 to a 5th round pick who's going to be battling for possibly a practice squad spot.
Well, I have my thoughts on that, to be honest with you, because I read a lot about people saying, well, at least now he doesn't have a target on his back. Oh, he's got a bigger target than he would have. There's a target because he is sitting in a room. Let's be honest. He's sitting in a quarterback room in Cleveland with a bunch of quarterbacks that basically are the equivalent of Rudolph's The Land of Misfit Toys. Like Kenny fucking Pickett, Joe Flacco, Dylan Gabriel, who wasn't even a top 5 prospect at the quarterback position.
Before you continue, where did you? I just posted this poll on my page. Where did you have Dylan? Like real talk, where did you have Dylan Gabriel? Like grade wise, like round projected to go.
I didn't have him. I honestly had him projected to go between the 5th and 7th round. He was I think he was my 7th best quarterback in the draft. So the fact that here's the funny part: Tyler Shuck, Jalen Milroe, Tyler Shuck, I think I had him at 5. Him and Will Howard were 4 and 5. I had Kyle McCord at 6. I had Dylan Gabriel at 7 and Jalen Milroe generously at 8 because I still don't believe he's a quarterback. I had Shedeur was ahead of all of them. All of them. So I don't like
most people had that too.
There's no reason outside of maybe Joe Flacco because he understands the offense. He did well in that offense 2 years ago when he came in for Deshaun. So I think outside of Flacco, if Sanders is even remotely as good as we believed he was or is, then he's not fighting for the practice squad. He's going to be on that football field there. Either he or Kenny Pickett are going to be there because, again, we know what Kenny Pickett is already. Hell, we saw flashes of what Kenny Pickett is in the Super Bowl when they put him in to play.
Did he go in? Did he go in to play the Super Bowl, or was it the?
No, Philly put him in because they were beating the brakes off Kansas City so bad they put him in to play. And I think his first pass, he face planted. Like, fuck was that?
Okay, look. Here's the thing. I knew something was up the minute they drafted Dylan Gabriel. Because, obviously Cam Ward went number 1, fine. Jackson Dart, for whatever freaking reason, I mean, Brian Dibble loves him. I don't know how many other teams loved him because he dropped as well. But the Giants came in and swooped him up. So they loved him, right? Because they traded back in the first round to get him. Tyler Show gets drafted. I'm like, okay. I was like, fine, whatever. For whatever reason, they like this old ass dude, I guess. Whatever. He's only played 20 games, gets hurt a lot, but he makes 2 or 3 spectacular throws against Notre Dame, and all of a sudden he's a top 40 pick. Whatever, bro. Whatever, it's New Orleans. Whatever. I was like, okay, maybe they fell in love with him too. When Jalen Moreau got drafted before Shedeur Sanders, was like, okay. I justified it myself. I try to tell myself, you know what? Okay, maybe the Seahawks just wanted a flyer. Maybe. I don't know who the OC is going to be there. I'm not sure who it is right now, but maybe they want to see what they can do with them. Maybe they feel like they don't mind taking the ball out of Sam Darnold's hands, right? Cool. Okay. Bro, when they drafted Dylan Gabriel over Shedeur, I was like, okay, there's some shit going on right now. No, this is because I kid you not. I swear on my God, my witness, I had Dylan Gabriel going undrafted. I didn't think he was going to get drafted because he's short, he's not that athletic, and he doesn't have a big arm. All the makings of a guy,
and he's left-handed. And he's left-handed. Like he checked off all the boxes of a quarterback you don't want.
All the boxes of a guy getting undrafted is Dylan Gabriel. like he went to like 4 different schools. Like, so I was like, okay, there's something's happening. No one at this point, and he kept dropping. He kept dropping and dropping and dropping. And I was like, okay, there's definitely some collusion going on here, right? It's planned collusion. No one can convince me otherwise. You can tell me all the BS you want. I get there could be some factors based off his personality and whatnot, but that doesn't, it's not enough justification to explain to me why this guy dropped so low. There's just no way. It was definitely, to me, it was planned collusion. I think the Browns probably planned on taking him the whole time, right? But that was their last pick. So they had to take him at that point or they were done, right? So, but it brings me to David James' question, because he asked it a question on the poll. He said, it's like Cleveland has 3 plans at quarterback. I like them all and did all 3. And it's terrible. So pretty much it's pretty much what you talked about, Fog. I don't really know what the plan is at quarterback outside of Joe Flacco, because I agree with you. I do think Joe Flacco is going to start just by the based off what he did 2 years ago. He's the veteran. He knows the plays. He knows Kevin Stefanski's, playbook, whatever. But I think Deshaun Watson's out. I think we all agree that Deshaun Watson is probably going to be on the way out, right? I think he knows it. They know it. He's gone. So it comes down to who the backup's going to be and then who the practice squad guy is going to be. And I can't – it's Cleveland, though. So there's that. But I can't see Cleveland, like, putting their 3rd round pick on the fucking practice squad. It wouldn't make any sense to me. Why would you drop a guy that high just for him to lose the job to your 5th round pick or to Kenny Pickett? So my theory is this. This is what I think. I think Dylan Gabriel is the backup. He's going to go in to training camp as the number 2 guy. And he may beat Joe Flacco out, but he might. I don't think he will, but he might kill it. Who knows? I don't really know. So I think, honestly, that 3rd spot's between Shedeur Sanders and Kenny Pickett. And I think those 2 guys are going to be battling it in preseason to see who's going to make the team, right? And who's going to be the practice squad. I think my gut feeling is going to be Shedeur because they drafted him and they want to see what they have. I think Kenny Pickett, I think we already know what he is. We've seen him in Pittsburgh. He was in Philly. You guys didn't want to keep him, so there's that. So I think he's going to be the odd man out, but I feel like they really kind of screwed themselves because if they think Dylan Gabriel is better than Shedeur Sanders, if they really want to believe that, then I don't know what to tell them. But I just hope that they give Shedeur an actual chance to show his skills, because it wouldn't make any sense to draft him. If you're gonna,
because again, you have you literally have 5 quarterbacks in your quarterback room right now.
It doesn't make any sense. Like if you were going to put Shedeur Sanders as your last pick of the draft on the practice squad, why would you draft him? The Browns are just unbelievably stupid organization. This unbelievably stupid team. I'm sorry, it's just dumb. But that's all I got. I'm glad he got drafted. You know, we'll see what happens in the future. I mean, obviously, like Browns training camp is going to be all talk, and everybody's going to microscope what Shedeur says. Every pass is going to be judged. Every sack is going to be judged. Every pick, every tip pass, every drop back, everything's going to be judged. So I just hope he can handle it. I hope he can handle it without his support group, without Shiloh, without Travis Hunter, without Dion, guys he's played with pretty much his entire life, right? Or at least a good portion of it, right? So we'll see where this lands, Shiloh. We'll see what he can do. Let's go ahead and move on. Let's go to a fun topic real quick before we get to our teams. Bog, are there any Tom Brady's in this draft as far as guys who you feel like that are who are chosen between rounds 5 and 7? It is going to be a quarterback between 5 and 7. Are there any Tom Brady's in this draft to you?
Devin Neal.
Ooh, that's my guy.
Devin Neal, 6th round, went to the Saints. If there is ever a running back that can pull off, essentially, he's Kyren Williams. He's Kyren Williams. He is not athlete. He's not supremely athletic. He's just good at every aspect. And we saw what Kyren Williams was able to do when he was given his opportunity. And I think Williams got drafted in the 5th round, if I'm not mistaken, 5th or 6th round as well. So I think Devin Neal is, if there's a guy that can come out of this draft to be at least close to having a Tom Brady-esque career, I would put my chips in on Devin Neal, because out of all the players that we've seen drafted between 5 and 7, there isn't a goddamn quarterback. There's not a quarterback that's going to be a Brock Purdy, let alone a Tom Brady in this damn draft. So if I'm going player, I'm going to say Devin Neal is that guy. I think he's a guy that he can shock everybody. Kamara is almost done, in my opinion. Kamara, he was efficient in the receiving game. He wasn't good rushing last year in New Orleans. And,
he's up there in age. He's up there.
I'm going to roll the dice on Devin Neal.
Yeah, Kamara. Yeah, I like that. Devin Neal is I think he was my third back behind Genty. Behind Genty and Amari Hampton. Yeah, Amari Hampton. I like Devin Neal. I just like his run style. I like his tenacity running the football. I'm a huge fan of it. So I'm gonna go. I had a couple guys that I wanted to go, but you know what? I'm gonna go. This is tough. I'm looking at some guys right now. Guys who can be really good. Tom Brady. So we're talking about Hall of Famer. I guess that would have to be right, because Tom Brady's a Hall of Famer. He was picked 699. I have one running back. Kind of stole mine too. I saw Devin Neal. I saw Devin Neal. I kind of stole mine. You did. You kind of stole my thunder there. I was going to pick Devin Neal as well. Damn, I came up with this question. This is tough. Rounds 5 through 7 is.
You came up with this damn question.
I know. This is tough. I mean, I could just say Shedeur. Because he was 5 through 7. He really was 5 through 7. So I could easily say Shedeur.
I could throw you a bone on one.
Give me one.
Horton.
What's his first name?
Is it Tyler Horton? The wide receiver, or Torrey Horton, I think it is. Wide receiver.
Ooh, out of Colorado State. Oh, that's a good one. That's a He's going to Seattle. He's going to Seattle. That's a good one. That's a good one. Oh, it was good. Okay, so I was gonna go him. That's a good one. I think also I think possibly Yaha Black. I think Yaha Black from Iowa.
Yes.
I liked him. That was a pick I actually liked a lot. I'm surprised he even lasted that long. I was really shocked that he lasted until the fifth round. I was like, wow,
Yeah, Pittsburgh might have got a
this
steal.
guy, like, that was a steal for us. That was a great steal for us. Hey man, look, I'm gonna say right now, for whatever reason, I like this guy. I don't know if he's gonna be a Hall of Famer or not, but I actually like him. He actually got drafted to your team. I like Kyle McCord, man. I like him. I think he's somebody that if he gets a shot, it obviously won't be with Philly because obviously he's not going to dethrone Jalen Hurts unless something catastrophic happens, right? I like Brashard Smith also, Bobby. I like that too. I like him. That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like that as well. I like that. I like Kyle McCord. I like Kyle McCord a lot. I think if he gets in the right situation, like I feel like if Kyle McCord was to like find his way to like San Francisco or even like LA and play for like one of those coaches, I think he would be okay. I think he would be really good. I feel like he's just a professional quarterback. He almost reminds me, I mean, this guy's not going to the Hall of Fame, but he's had some solid seasons. He almost reminds me of Kirk Cousins a little bit, how he's just very, very just professional. Like he's not going to, I mean, like he won't win you into Super Bowls probably, but he's going to win you a lot of games. I think Kyle McCord is a guy, if you can get him into a good program, get him into a good offense where he doesn't have to do too much, I think he can win you a lot of games. I like Kyle McCord. Even though I did say he could be able to quarterback, but I didn't choose quarterback. But I do like Tyler Horton, though, out of Colorado State. I like that a lot. I think was he the guy? No. Who was the receiver from Stanford that like went crazy on Colorado? What was that guy's name? I think one of these
Amenora or something like that.
I think one of these receivers are gonna. I think one of these receivers. I also like with the Ravens. Speaking of winners, Ravens had a great draft.
Yes.
Ravens had a really getting Malachi Starks and then also getting LaJohntay Webster out of Colorado, another fast. Again, Ravens, for whatever reasons, love these small ass like receivers running around the field. But I like that a lot. I like Webster. They have speed. They have a lot of speed at wide receiver with Bateman, and they have Flowers, and they have Webster, who is really, really big in Colorado's offense. So I like that pick a lot. So I don't think it's gonna be a Hall of Famer, but I think that's one guy we can probably touch on a little bit later. All right. As for our last topic, let's talk about our teams. We're gonna grade each other's teams. Obviously, I'm the Steeler fan, you're the Eagle fan. So I want you to do the honors of grading my team's draft.
So the Steelers, I would give them a B minus. In all honesty, and here's why. I like what they did. I like Derek Harmon grab. I think Harmon was a fantastic grab for them. I think he was the third ranked defensive tackle on most everybody's boards. He was a top 5 D tackle. So getting him at where they did, especially when you know that Cam Hayward is what, 36, 35?
35.
He's up there in age. So you pick up a guy that's going to be able to be a solid interior defender potentially and replace Cam Hayward. That was fantastic. I love Caleb Johnson.
Yeah,
he was
I like
one
that
of my
too.
top 5 running backs. This is a guy. Unfortunately, Jalen Warren is screwed because he's another dead body. I think he's going to get pushed to the side because Caleb Johnson is going.
You think so?
I really do. Caleb Johnson is going to eat in Pittsburgh. My big issue with the Steelers, with everything they did, you do not have. You're potentially going into the season without a real quarterback. And I get you grab Will Howard in the 6th round, and that's great. You have Mason Rudolph on your staff. Okay, but you've got all your eggs in the Aaron Rodgers, 41-year-old Aaron Rodgers basket. And this draft wasn't going to help you find that quarterback. And the fact that you let potentially Shedeur Sanders and Jackson Dart both let them slide out of your hands. And you're really trusting your team to basically be led by Aaron Rodgers. If Aaron Rodgers said, hey, I'm not playing, I'm going to retire, then you did all of this for nothing. You did all of this for nothing because you don't have a quarterback, a viable option anyway, at quarterback going into the 2025 season. I like what they did, but because of their current situation, if they had Russell Wilson, I may grade it higher because I think this team has an opportunity. I like the Sawyer pickup, like you just said. Yaha Black, I think people are sleeping on how good he actually can be. And again, you get that depth in that rotation with Harmon. I think both Black and Harmon will be on that squad.
Yeah.
And in the trenches for them.
Yeah.
But that's why I give it a B minus. I think if you had a solidified quarterback going into this draft with the way you drafted, I think you'd be in a better position. But the fact that you don't have a quarterback right now, you did good with the draft, but this team is not going to be anything if they don't have a viable option at quarterback.
Yeah, I personally gave our draft a B plus because I like we have some defensive tackle depth. That's what we really desperately needed. We were getting old there. We were getting kind of old on the front seven. So we got Jack Sawyer, who I like. I think he's just going to be one of those guys who's just going to be consistent. He's going to be a tackling machine. It's kind of stiff, kind of small lower body, but I feel like he's just going to be a guy that's going to be a fan favorite. I don't see him as an edge guy. I feel like he's going to be one of those guys who's going to be right place at the right time. Right. I don't think he shouldn't cover anybody. I don't think he has the kind of range. I don't think he really has the bendability like TJ Watt to get to the quarterback. But I think he's a guy that can, be good in that run stopping area. Right. I think he's going to be good there. I love Yaha Black and Derek Harmon. I can't wait to see these guys grow and develop together. I think our line is going to be set after Cam, and they're going to be able to be mentored by Cam Hayward, who I love. That's what I like. And obviously Caleb Johnson wasn't. I think it was like number 4 for me on running backs. But I like this running back class. So I would have been happy with anybody. Amari Hampton. I would have been happy with Devin Neal. I'm happy with Caleb Johnson. I don't know. I think we're gonna have a pretty good 1-2 system, right? I think. But if Caleb Johnson is hot, if he's the guy, then don't take him off the field. I like Jaylen Warren because I feel like he's a guy that kind of hits the hole hard. He does have a fumbling issue. So I feel like that leash is going to be pretty small for him as far as him putting the ball on the ground. But yes, the glaring thing is this. We did not draft a quarterback until the 6th round. And I'm actually okay with this because you and I both know this draft is weak at quarterback. It's weak as hell, right? And I just was okay for not reaching for a quarterback. I understand the allure of drafting Shedeur Sanders. Would I have done it? I don't know. Not the 1st round. I was kind of disappointed we didn't get him in the 3rd round when he was just sitting there. When he was sitting there in the 3rd round, but we did get Caleb Johnson. We did address a need. And Caleb Johnson was still sitting there at running back. Like, I believe, did Travion Henderson get drafted first? No.
Yeah.
He did, right?
Mm-hmm.
He did, right. Travion Henderson got drafted first, so I'm sure.
Judkins and Henderson both went before Caleb Johnson.
They almost went back to back. It was like a couple. That's what I remember. Yeah. So I'm pretty sure if one of those guys fell into our lap, we would have took him. But I think Caleb Johnson is a great, viable option. I think he's going to be really good. He's a hard-nosed running back. He hits the hole, unlike that guy who's in LA right now, who's probably going to get benched by like week 5 by Amari Hampton. But yeah, the quarterback position is still a problem. But I'm gonna tell you something, man. I honestly have no clue if Aaron Rodgers is coming or not. I don't think anybody fucking knows. My gut says he's coming, but I wouldn't be shocked if I got an ESPN message or something on my phone saying Aaron Rodgers decides to retire. Or if you pull some BS saying Aaron Rodgers decides not to play in 2025. I can see him not retiring, but I can see him saying, I don't want to play. Right? If he doesn't want to play, cool. But you know what's going to happen, Fog? I promise you, I'm willing to bet this. Will Howard's going to be our starting quarterback. He's because there's
I'll believe it.
there's no way we can march Mason Rudolph out there week 1 without. There's no way. There is absolutely, unless we make some groundbreaking trade between now and training camp or whatever, or there. I read some article where it said like possibly Jackson Dart could like win the spot or something like that, and they can cut Russell Wilson and we can bring him back. I don't know, right? But there's no way Mason Rudolph is our starter week 1. I'm gonna keep saying that until it becomes existent. Until I speak into existence, I'm gonna keep saying it. There's no way Jackson Dart is our quarterback week 1. There's just absolutely no freaking way. No, I'm not gonna buy it. Let's go ahead and do Philly. God help me. Let's go ahead and do Philly. All right, so here are the guys you drafted right here. I believe I gave you guys on my draft grade. I believe I gave you guys a B+ or A-. It's one of the two. I mean, getting Jahad Campbell. I mean, I know he has a knee issue. I get that, but if he is somebody that just gets healthy, and if he's somebody that can clean that knee up, I mean, you have one of the best backs. We can be talking about him as if he's the best linebacker in this draft like 5 years from now. Like, he's that good. So the fact that you guys traded up like 1 pick to get him out, maybe you got, I don't know why you guys did that, but that's almost a damn near steal, right? I like Andrew Makuba.
Yep.
From Texas. I like that. I like him a lot at safety. Got some safety depth there. I like Ty Robinson from Nebraska. I do like him a little bit. A little undersized, but I do like him at DT. It's good depth, right? Obviously, you guys need some depth at cornerback and Mac McWilliams at UCF. I like the Shamil Moden Jr. pick from Georgia. I like that a lot as well. Beat up the offensive line quite a bit. Beat it up quite a bit with Drew Cannell and Miles Hilton. I think you guys had a good draft. I mean, I think the top of your draft is really solid. Picks 1, 2, and 4 are really, really solid. That's why I get to give you guys like a B+ or A- on my grades. I really, really like what you guys did.
No, I love it too, and I love the Mac McWilliams grab from UCF.
Yeah,
to get him in the 5th round was that to me that's going to be a steal because he's automatically going to be a plug-in corner.
Plug and play. Yep.
He is absolutely going to be there, and the fact that he was in the 5th round was crazy. I honestly. I like Miles Hilton and Cameron Williams. I think one of those two guys, if not both of them, may very well make the team. Because in all honesty, especially with Hinton, I thought he was going to go in like between the 4th and the 5th round. So the fact that he fell back to the 6th, I think that was really good. That's really good for Philadelphia. Again, Roseman just continues to find players that you turn around and go, I didn't think that guy would be something. And they turn into something. Ty Robinson, like you said, undersized at the D tackle position, but he's going to be a guy that you're going to be able to plug in and rotate immediately. And like you said, that depth at the defensive line is tremendous. And if you've got depth in the trenches, you're already halfway there to win it.
I mean, we saw that. We saw that in the Super Bowl. We saw the depth that you guys were just rotating guys in and staying fresh, and the Chiefs literally could not handle it. So the fact that you guys are getting more guys, Ty Robinson in the 4th round, I mean, that's incredible depth, right? But again, Jahad Campbell in the last that's going to be a steal. That's going to be a steal.
We literally had a choice of Campbell or Will Johnson.
Like crazy.
What the fuck?
But I mean, I feel like Campbell's ceiling is higher than Will Johnson.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I feel like Campbell's ceiling is higher than Will Johnson because if Campbell, you hit on Campbell, if he can get healthy, if he stays healthy, man, he's going to be dominant.
Outside of Abdul Carter, this Campbell was my 2nd best linebacker in this draft.
Yeah. I mean, I know a lot of people I like James Pierce Jr. Well, the Falcons had a pretty good. Who else did they get? They got two pass rushers. They got James Pierce Jr. and they got somebody else in the middle. Was it It was a guy that I'm not big on. I'm not big on. He went to Georgia. It was Toller. What was that guy's name? I'm not big on him. I feel like he's one of those guys that could be he's one of those guys that could be a bust. Let me look him up real quick. Let me look him up real quick. Atlanta draft.
The Falcons.
Jalen Walker. Sorry, I couldn't think of his name.
Walker from
I'm not huge on him, but you know, the Falcons have been needing pass rush help for years now. So they addressed it. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, I think Jalen. I think that Jahad Campbell and the fact that he dropped to you guys at 31 was just remarkable. It was just unbelievable for you guys, man. But it was a wild draft. A lot of storylines in this draft. Obviously, Shedeur Sanders' story took over the draft for 3 days, which nobody expected him to go in day 3, which is incredible. But he did get drafted. It was a wild ride. It was a lot of fun. Again, you and I said this wasn't a draft of blue chippers. It was a draft of probably like solid starters.
Yep.
Right. So it wasn't a draft that we really felt like was going to be super starstruck. Next year's draft should be like that. And you know, I'm super excited for 2 reasons. One, it's a great quarterback class. Should be a really, really good quarterback class, headlined by Arch Manning, right? And then 2, it's going to be in Pittsburgh, and fall. I'm going to be there. So this is where me and you we got to set something up because I'm going to be in Pittsburgh. I'm going to be there with some other friends there, so we gotta do a show from there or something.
Pittsburgh,
it's gonna be in Pittsburgh, and next year, and then 2027, it's gonna be in my hometown in DC. So I'm gonna be going to the draft. I think DC or Denver. We haven't decided yet, but hopefully decide DC. But it's gonna be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to going to the one in Pittsburgh. Hey, how far is Pittsburgh from you?
About 5 hours.
Is it really?
4 or 5 hours. It is from here.
Oh, it's Western Pennsylvania. You're near Philly.
Yeah,
that's true. You're near Philly, or Harrisonburg. You said.
No, I'm near. I'm in Scranton, so I'm near Philly.
Oh, okay. Gotcha. Well, I'm excited for it. I'll be at next year's draft. It's gonna be a lot of fun. This year's draft was a lot of fun for some other reasons besides the draft. You know what's funny? I feel bad about this real quick before we go. We did this whole draft show, and we didn't mention Cam Ward's name one time.
No, I said his name. I mentioned him.
Where did you mention him?
I did mention when I was talking about Shedeur Sanders, and there was 3 quarterbacks that were. It was Cam Ward, Shedeur Sanders, and Jackson Dart.
Oh, that's okay. So he was mentioned. We didn't give him a shout out.
And Cam Ward is one of my losers because he got drafted to the Titans.
He got drafted to a place where like the coach is a sitting duck. He's a sitting duck. Like he's literally like he's a sitting duck. Like he's could be fired, and then whoever comes in may not like Cam Ward. He's one of my guys that has high bust potential. High bust potential is Cam Ward. I hate to say it, but it's just based on just the hype and being the #1 overall pick. Like he's gonna be, it's gonna be tough for him. It's gonna be tough in that place. Yeah, it's gonna be tough, but we'll see. But that does it for us, man. That does it for us. Thank you guys for watching. Lawrence, my boy, who's on there. Bobby, David, Kevin Oliver. Appreciate you guys coming on here and watching our show, man. We're definitely excited for this season. We'll be back next week to talk more football and other sports as well. Of course, subscribe to our YouTube channel on YouTube. Thank you for leaving comments below. And of course, this is the 2-Man Front. Okay, I'm Be Easy from Be Easy Sports. And of course, it's my boy, The Fog from Objectively Biased Sports. And we'll see you guys next week.